Welcome to AgriPulse Newsmakers, where we aim to take you to the heart of ag policy. I'm your host, Andrew Hunnicky. This week's guest is California Democratic Congressman Jim Costa, who joins us to talk about his challenge to become ranking member on the House Ag Committee and the future of the Farm Bill. But first, here are this week's headlines. Peter Navarro will return as a senior trade advisor in the next Trump administration. Navarro will serve as a senior counselor for trade and manufacturing. He was in charge of the White House National Trade Council in the first administration and was released from federal prison in July following a 4-month sentence for refusing to hand over documents to the House committee investigating what happened on January 6, 2021. Trump has praised Navarro for negotiating the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement and revising the free trade agreement with South Korea. Producers are feeling more optimistic about their finances next year and that they'll get relief from regulations, according to the latest Ag Economy Barometer from Purdue University and the CME Group. The barometer as a whole is up to its highest level since May 2021. 25% of those surveyed in November expect better times next year compared to 16% who felt that way in October. 55% also believe environmental regulations will be less restrictive in 5 years. Despite the positive outlook, 42% believe American agriculture could be involved in a trade war that reduces ag exports. And finally, Congresswoman Angie Craig and Congressman Jim Costa are challenging Congressman David Scott to be the top Democrat on the House Ag Committee. Congressman Costa faced off against Scott for the role of chairman in 2020, but lost. He's been on the Ag Committee since 2005. We asked him how he would provide strong advocacy for farmers across the country if elected ranking member.
I'm a third-generation farmer. My grandparents came to this country as immigrants, working in dairies, and saved up enough money to buy a small dairy and then expanded through there. So it's our efforts in California represent, in my own case, a third generation that understands the challenges every day that farmers, ranchers, dairymen, and women have in putting food on America's dinner table. See, I used to chair in the California State Senate, the Ag and Water Committee, a very important committee in California. And so for 20 years, I bring a lot of experience and expertise on working on these critical issues that involve American agriculture. Food is a national security issue. It's actually an international security issue. It doesn't often get looked that way, but it is. And the Farm Bill, the reauthorization of the Farm Bill, is something that I've worked on in the 20 years that I've been a ranking member on the House Ag Committee. It's my fourth Farm Bill. And traditionally, it's been one of our more bipartisan pieces of legislation that we pass every 5 years in the Congress. We have been, sadly, stymied on the nutrition programs. For the Farm Bill is not only a safety net for farmers, ranchers, dairymen, and women, but for 42 to 47 million Americans who are food insecure.
I would like to go back and touch on the point that President Trump performed so well with rural voters in the last election. What do you think Democrats need to do to win back that rural vote?
We need to listen, most importantly. Those of us who represent rural districts in America that have been successfully reelected, I think in large part, is because we listen a lot. And we're hands-on, and we visit our communities. We meet with our various agricultural organizations, whether it be the dairy organizations or other agricultural organizations, and we work on projects together. And most of my constituents, including my agricultural community, of which I'm a part of, really are more focused on getting things done as opposed to partisan politics. And they appreciate the fact that, members like myself reach across the aisle to work together. I think Democrats need to, who represent rural areas, need to talk about how they can work together with their local agricultural communities on critical issues facing those agricultural commodity that whether it's investing in infrastructure, whether it be in broadband, whether it be in transportation, whether it be in water. And we do that full the time. I mean, it's a body of work that I've been engaged in that are critical for our farmers, ranchers, dairymen, and women to be able to do what they do so well, which is put food on America's dinner table.
Let's move on to the Farm Bill. What must happen, in your opinion, before a new bill can get passed?
I think we have to work together in a bipartisan fashion before the end of the year to pass this continuing resolution to set the stage for next year's efforts to pass the Farm Bill. And I think that begins by ensuring that we deal with some of the issues that are still before us, trying to reimburse farmers and rural areas that have been impacted by disasters. So disaster relief in terms of the supplemental bill needs to be addressed. Included in that, and that not only where the hurricanes took place, but where examples of like the high path avian flu. In addition to that, we have some orphan programs that are a part of the Farm Bill that need to be included in a continuing resolution so that we have consistency among the ag community on these orphan programs. And then it would be good, I think, because again, the modification that we've, I think, got an agreement on crop insurance, I would like to see included as well in the continuation of the CR, because so many farmers, ranchers, dairymen, and women across the country are feeling the impacts on their crop insurance, and the modifications that I think we want to include would help them, would assist them during these difficult economic times where they're suffering from losses at the farm gate.
We'll be right back with more from Congressman Jim Costa right after this.
These are the farmers and ranchers who help build the America we depend on, and Farm Credit is here for them, supporting rural communities and agriculture with reliable, consistent credit and financial services. In good times and bad, we provide loans to farmers and ranchers, farmer-owned cooperatives, rural homebuyers, agribusinesses, and rural infrastructure providers. We help agricultural producers feed the world. Learn more today.
I think some of sustainability to farmers just comes second nature. If you asked a farmer, are you sustainable? They'd probably look at you maybe a little funny and say, I don't think I'm doing anything that special, but it really is just what they do. We're all farmers, and our goal is taking the best care of our land, our cattle, our natural resources.
This is my sustainability story.
Welcome back. Republicans want to pass a year-end package that would include disaster aid as well as assistance for farmers who've been hurt by the decline in commodity prices. We asked Congressman Jim Costa about the chances of that package passing by the end of the year.
Well, I'm hopeful, and you're correct to point that out because there are two parts of it. There's the supplemental package that would include funding for FEMA and for other disaster relief that I touched on. And then there, of course, is the extension of the continuing resolution to keep funding at the current level within the United States Department of Agriculture.
I'd like to get your thoughts on President-elect Trump's nominee for Ag Secretary, Brooke Rollins. Do you think she's going to be the right representative for farmers and ranchers moving forward?
Well, I certainly hope so. I don't know her. I'm anxious to meet her. Clearly, she grew up in a farm area. I was pleased to see that she was involved in 4-H and FFA as a young person and showed animals. I say that because I was in 4-H and remember those years as formative in terms of the animal projects I had and the other projects I had that hopefully we'll be able to share. So going to Texas A&M obviously has very good credentials. So her background, I think, indicates that she grew up in a rural ag environment. And so that's good news, I think. And her other experience in her career seems to indicate that she understands how government works and how it doesn't work and how we can work together to make our efforts effective on behalf of American agriculture. And I would add also our regional efforts across the country.
Congressman Jim Costa, thank you so much for joining us, sir.